Southern Fried Chad from X. That's how all you know me, from the SPX6900 community. I have Audacious Investor here, who wrote the really incredible book, SPX6900 Stop Trading, Start Believing. I just wanted to talk to him, get some of insight into why he wrote the book, and go through some questions. So my first question I want to start with is, what got you into crypto to begin with?
My crypto journey, I would say, started in 2013. Actually, from reading a public newspaper, and there was a story in the paper about Bitcoin and how someone bought in early, and they were buying a property in some foreign country. They were buying a property and they made several hundreds of thousands of pounds, and they only spent like a few £100 on it.
Right.
So I was thinking Bitcoin. I was actually, when I read the stories, I was actually annoyed at the time that I hadn't discovered Bitcoin early.
Right.
Because prior to Bitcoin, I was investing in silver.
Okay.
So I've always been this contrarian type of investor where, investing things outside the system. So I was buying silver, listening to a lot of silver content, and then I discovered Bitcoin. So at that time, when I discovered Bitcoin in 2013, the next thing I did was, I didn't really look into Bitcoin, but I discovered CoinMarketCap, for example, and then I saw there's a bunch of other coins in the market. So Bitcoin at the time was I think it was like £300-400, English pounds. I'm not sure what that is in dollars. And there was all these other altcoins in the market, and they were like fragments of sets. So my attention ultimately was attracted to that. I started to think to myself, what if I buy these alt tokens and they go up just like Bitcoin did? I mean, I didn't really know much. So that was my theory back then. So I started to dabble into a couple of these tokens, thinking that I'm accumulating millions of them now, thinking that they have the potential to go up just like Bitcoin did.
Right.
And I thought I missed the boat on Bitcoin. Bitcoin was £300. So what I did back then, I taught myself how to buy Bitcoin, how to use a centralized exchange, and basically sell my Bitcoin for these other tokens. So that was in 2013.
Gotcha.
And what happened was, after that is nothing. The tokens that I bought, they went to nothing around 2014. So I think I got in at the tail end of a bull cycle. So Bitcoin must have went up in price and things were going down, and the market was going down. I didn't really know much about Bitcoin except for it was some magic internet money that did well. I thought I could do well with other tokens. And then in 2014, I sort of left the crypto space to return back to it in 2016. That was my that's how I first discovered crypto, accidentally, through a newspaper.
Yeah, because back then I wasn't involved then. I remember reading about Bitcoin and just thought it was interesting. I never got involved or anything, but I've heard that unlike today, where you can just go in and buy whatever with fiat in a centralized exchange, you had to buy Bitcoin and then buy whatever token you were looking for in Bitcoin. Wasn't everything denominated in Bitcoin back then?
Yes, everything was denominated in Bitcoin. There was no stable coins. So I learned how to buy Bitcoin, and I was just selling it straight away for these alt tokens that I was buying, thinking that they would do well. And I was spending, I think there was like a forum called Bitcoin Talk, or I can't remember now, something along those lines. And I was just following the altcoin community within that forum.
Gotcha.
And that's where I was really getting my news and my updates on the altcoins that I was buying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
None of them did well. not the first two tokens that I bought did not do well.
I wonder if they're Are they like totally zero, or are they still trade at all, or they're just totally gone?
Yeah, I think probably totally zero. Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any trading volume. What was it? One was called IFC Infinite Coin and WDC World Coin, something like that.
Infinite Coin.
At the time,
I like that name. That's a good name.
Yeah, at the time there was a lot of hype around it though. So I remember at that stage, I'm not sure if Infinite Coin actually reached close to the top 10 in coin market cap. Back then, the top 10 tokens on coin market cap was different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of hype around it, but
right.
Yeah, I didn't know any better.
Yeah, yep. I think a lot of people have gone through that lesson, so it is what it is.
When did you discover crypto?
I got in actually I actually bought Bitcoin for the first time in 2021. So I'm relatively, this is like my first full cycle. And when I bought it, I basically bought like Dogecoin and Bitcoin on Robinhood. So I was like the typical person coming in at that point. And and I just stuck with it and I kept buying Bitcoin in 2022. Then I discovered Solana, and I was buying it a lot. And luckily I bought some at that $8 low, and it's done pretty well. And then, and then 2024, I started getting into meme coins when they kind of blew up, and then, but yeah, the first time I bought it was 2021. I kept up with it. I almost remember buying some Bitcoin in 2018. Cause I was like, oh, it's down a lot. But then some article made me think, I don't know if I should mess with this. So
yeah.
Wish I did back then. That was a really good price. But luckily I always realized, for some reason, I always recognized that Bitcoin was like very, very important. I knew that was more important than pretty much everything at that point. So I always, whenever I was buying, I always made sure that was part of what I was buying. So I did recognize that, which I'm glad for, because buying Bitcoin does kind of protect you from other things, because you know what I mean, because it's going to do okay because it's very big. But so I bought some altcoins, but like the riskiest thing I bought in 2021 was Dogecoin, which isn't that crazy. So yeah, but 2024 is when I really started going down the rabbit hole of things outside of your typical coins. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. I've looked back, at my trading history in Bitcoin, and I've had so many Bitcoin, like whole coins, that I've literally sold for rubbish.
Right.
It's kind of sad, but I never look back at it. Considering how hard it is to accumulate one coin now, but yeah. I look at it like a savings account almost. Bitcoin. That's kind of how I look at it. And I think SPX is on its way, and I think it has the potential for sure. But I still look at it as an investment at this point, and I look at Bitcoin as savings, if that makes sense. I kind of denominate the world in Bitcoin terms. I don't. So I went through a period of time where I was a Bitcoin Maxi, which essentially you think everything else is not cool, not good at all. And so I kind of have that embedded in me to a degree, but yeah, I branched out, we'll say, and I can see the value in other coins now. So, and I think SPX embodies that. It reminds me. I remember reading about Bitcoin in 2013 and earlier, and it had that spirit. It's the same spirit to it. And the people were talking crazy back then, or at least it was crazy, saying like, "Oh yeah, it could become the world reserve currency." Da 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 da. And now it's like basic. It's not there yet, but it's pretty obvious that that's going to probably happen, because the United States is talking about buying it for their reserve asset. It's like a lot of the stuff they say will come true has come true. So denying it at this point, I think, is silly. So Yeah.
But
I went through.
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say SPX gives me that same vibe. That's all.
Yeah, 100%. I went through that Bitcoin Maxi stage as well, but about in 2019. So by the time 2019 came, I was like, I've made so many like failures with all these utility tokens that I've invested in that I started to actually look at Bitcoin and take it more seriously.
Yep.
And that's when I started to actually consume a lot of Bitcoin Maxi content.
Yep.
To understand what really is the value proposition of Bitcoin.
Right.
Because over the years, I've only seen it just continue to gain value from the moment I discovered it when it was like a few £100, and then in 2019, it was several £1,000s. So I went through like an era where I was just like, you know what, everything else is rubbish. I'm just accumulating Bitcoin. I spent that whole year of 2019 just like stacking stats, hodling. But then when 2021 came, I sold my Bitcoin again for utility tokens, because I started to buy into the narrative at the time. Because the narrative at the time, well, people were saying to me, I mustn't like ROI.
Yeah. Because
your Bitcoin is only going to go up so much.
Right.
Considering the price. And whereas if you buy this token, the market cap is low, it has a much higher potential to give you a better ROI. And it made sense to me. Yeah. I tend to change my perspective if a stronger, rational argument is presented. So I sort of thought, okay, yeah, if Bitcoin goes to 100,000 from where I'm buying now, what was that? It's like a 10x maybe. But then if I buy this token, I could probably make 100x.
Yep.
So I then started to sell my Bitcoin for other utility tokens and diversify into them as well. And yeah, so today, needless to say, today I'm holding that Bitcoin.
Yeah. This is the way I do it is I never set, whenever I buy Bitcoin, I never sell it. Like I look at it as savings. Yeah. That is
the best way.
Yeah. And then I look at everything else I do as an investment. You know, there's more risk involved. SPX6900 I think has a ton of potential, but is still in that risky phase. That's just the truth. And I feel very bullish on it, but it's still early, and there's still risk there. So but this one gives me the same vibe. So I feel good about it. Like I feel really good about it. But I still don't sell my Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like I'm just not.
No, I understand that. Looking at Bitcoin like digital gold.
Right.
Like you said, it's a savings account, maybe a nice retirement fund at the end.
Yes.
And that's the best way. I guess when I was trying to look for something. Now that's if I invest in Bitcoin, that's exactly how I'll do it. I would have that mindset. I won't look at it in terms of making and extracting the best amount of ROI to actually drastically change my financial position. Because the prices at now, the chances of that happening in a short period of time is going to be slim.
It's like I honestly look at it as totally, to me, it's totally de-risked. It's the I know a lot of boomers would feel very differently, but it's like, to me, it's like a very basic investment at this point, just like so. Yeah, I still think it's got a lot of potential, but it's not. You're not gonna get rich soon,
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I was looking for that. I need to change my life right now, sort of token.
Yes.
Which has been my downfall in a way, because you're constantly like jumping, trying to chase the next shiny utility narrative. I've suffered. I've been hit with that a lot.
Yeah, so, FOMO can be a killer.
Yeah.
So I did have another question. this kind of leads to that. I assume SPX6900 wasn't your first meme coin. So what kind of got you into meme coins?
Good question. No, SPX6900 wasn't my first meme coin, but I would say I've had like an aversion to meme coins throughout my whole crypto journey up until 2024. I was like a utility maxi. Right. So if the token didn't have a utility, I was like, what's its purpose? And what's the value proposition? I didn't understand the meme coin market. I would just see like these random tokens, a dog with a hat, for example, a face that looks like a frog-looking face, or a dog animal token, and the token is skyrocketing, and it made no sense to me. I was like, where is the utility? Why are people buying these tokens? How do I even know what to buy? It was just too. I mean, like crypto, I saw it as high risk anyways, and meme tokens was just like a high risk category within an already high risk market. So without the utility aspect and not knowing how to decipher what gives these meme tokens value, I was had an aversion to it. So I would say, what year was it? Maybe 2020 maybe. I had a friend telling me to buy Shiba Inu.
Okay. And
it was dirt cheap. If I had put like, the amount of money that he wanted me to buy, I would have made some good money back off of it. And I looked at the supply; it was in the trillions. I didn't get it. I was like, "Where's the utility in this token?" So I kind of faded it.
Sure.
I ignored it. Then in 2021, Shiba did really well, and that's when I was like, "Okay, let me see if I can try and catch another one of these narratives, another one of these pumps." So I my first token that I bought was a token called Saitama Inu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I jumped into that. Yeah, one of the copies. I mean, again, it's ignorant. It's trying to chase something that would hopefully do well for me, and didn't do well for me. And I was like, yeah, I'm done with meme tokens. I'm not really interested in meme token investing. Back to my utility narratives. I feel safe here.
Yep. No, it makes sense, and I think if a token has true utility, it can help it in a bear market. If it really does, it can. But it does. I mean, even the utility coins, it still seems like it's still a belief coin in a way, because you're just believing there will be utility. A lot of times there's not really utility. It's just like, oh, 100%. It will come. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to come, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I kind of started to figure that out and become disillusioned as time went by, which I guess sort of helped me when I discovered SPX. Because I was already becoming disillusioned with the whole utility narrative. But yeah, it was a journey. It was a journey.
For sure. So yeah, why did you decide to get into SPX? Okay, I'll say SPX was kind of brought to my attention in 2023. Really?
Yeah, it was dirt cheap.
Yeah.
But with the way it was brought to my attention, again, at that stage, I was still a utility maxi. Right. So it was brought to my attention in a way where it's like, oh, check out SPX. Look into SPX. So I didn't pay much attention to it. It was a meme token. So I will say in 2024, the same person was also talking about SPX, but they were talking about it in a way that didn't resonate with me. They were talking about it from a tokenized, spiritual, people that love God. I'm not an atheist, but I just couldn't really understand the concept when it comes to crypto investing. So I wouldn't say it's the best approach to show SPX starting from that method. A little bit extreme. It's a bit extreme, yeah. It's like a God-loving community, and that's why it's going to do well above everything else.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah. Sounds interesting. But so that was in 2024. He was constantly like soft shilling SPX, but going from that spiritual route, which again didn't resonate with me.
Right.
I still had the mindset of meme tokens have no utility. It's hyper gambling. I want to see a product. I want to see a use case. And this was like early 2024 now.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I started to notice, and I started to realize as well, that a lot of these utility tokens, they're only actually gaining value as a result of community speculation on utility. There is no actual utility giving any of my utility tokens value.
Right.
There is no real use case that's being adopted in the market that's actually giving the token value. So I started to realize the utility is just a narrative that the community is buying into and speculating on that is giving my utility tokens value.
Right.
Okay, so I started to discover that. And when I realized that, I was like, okay, so if everything is sort of speculation and narratives, then maybe it's a good idea, because meme tokens were doing well now in 2024, some of them, is that a lot of value does come towards the meme token market, a lot of speculative value. So I should maybe start diversifying into meme tokens and buying some, just so I have some in my portfolio. So I started to do what most people do. Again, I started to trench. So I would look at low cap memes and I'll think to myself, I didn't know, again, I didn't have any idea on how to pick meme tokens. I was like, okay, this meme token's low, it has a low market cap, it maybe can do 100x. Let me buy some of that. Let me buy some of this. I was just cherry picking here and there. The guy that was shilling SPX to me as well, with the whole spiritual aspect, I didn't really get it. And one thing I will say that doesn't do SPX any favors is when someone first tells me about a token, the first thing I would usually do is I would go to CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, and I would read the about section. Now, when I read the about section of SPX, I was like, what are they on about? I can't remember what it says now, but something about it was basically, I mean, it's not doing SPX any justice. I mean, there's so much that could be put there that could have sold me on SPX right there and then, but it was talking about some scientific computer blockchain utilization. I was like, it sounds like another utility token. It sounds like another utility token.
I think they're trying to be ironic, but it is kind of, I think it's lampooning the whole thing. Like Ethereum technologies, it is just a joke, basically. That's how I take it. Maybe. But
I wish they had more of the the SPX6900 thesis like written in there to really sell what makes SPX different. So I was like, I didn't really understand it. I went onto the website. Okay, I was like, this looks interesting. I can see that it's sort of a play on the S&P 500, but yeah, that's what I didn't. I mean, I was like, okay, so it looks funny. That's about it. Yeah. And I didn't really do much with it. So this was like in maybe like mid 2024. Now the same guy, I must give it to him. Later in late 2024 now, he was SPX started to pump. Right. And then I realized, if I had bought SPX and he told me to in 2023, I would have made a lot of money here. I missed that opportunity too. So this is now September 2024. And then he started to share Murad's content, Murad's list. So I started to pay more attention to what he's saying. I discovered Murad through him. Yeah. And then I discovered the Token 2049 presentation by Murad. And that was what I needed. I needed a rational explanation as to what gave meme tokens value. What was the value proposition within meme tokens? I needed someone to explain that to me, rationalize it to me. And the moment I watched Murad's presentation, it's like the penny sort of dropped. I realized, the way I'm looking at meme tokens and the lack of utility, because it doesn't have a product or it doesn't have a use case in the sense what I'm looking for, that is not the value proposition of meme tokens. The value proposition is the community itself. And I began to realize, okay, the community itself is the value proposition of meme tokens. Just like with my utility tokens, I understood that it is the community itself giving the token value, but is speculating on a meme narrative, not on a utility narrative. Whereas with meme tokens, there was no utility narrative, but the community itself was giving the token value. So from Murad's video, I started to buy some SPX6900, but I wouldn't say even then I had high conviction in the token. I just started to now introduce it into my portfolio. Probably several months later, that's why I make a differentiation between being an SPX holder and being a true Eon. I would say that came 4 or 5 months later, where I realized, okay, SPX6900, and I started to develop my own self-conviction.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm very similar, except I did not hear about it until Murad talked about it. I never knew about it until then. So, but I really identified the token 2049. The token 2049 video was very convincing, and I was keeping track of his list because I had already owned ticker Bitcoin before, and I'd owned some PopCat, I think. So I'd owned several of them, and I was like, okay, the list is lining up with some of the things I own. So I was just keeping track of him, and when he talked about it, honestly, I bought SPX purely because he mentioned it. That's how I started, purely because he mentioned it. That's just the truth. And then I developed conviction over time. So
yeah, because even after I discovered SPX6900, I was still looking for. I was trying to apply what he was saying about community in the trenches. I'll say, okay, let me see if I can find a strong community that still has a low market cap. But I think the community is cultish, that's likely to do well, and maybe I can catch that nice 100x in a short period of time. And yeah, needless to say, I didn't do well with those either. But It was all part of my journey of eventually becoming a true SPX6900 believer.
Cool. So that's kind of how you got into SPX. What inspired you to write the book? What made you? I know you developed your conviction, but what got you to the point where you were inspired enough to write the book?
Several reasons. One, I've got this thing where when I have like conviction in the token, I would just naturally I'm inclined to work for my bag, and I've done that with many tokens in the past. And there's one token that I was working for my bag. This is between 2016 and 2019, and where I was only dedicated to this token, making videos, had a website, articles, even made an ebook for the community. I mean, I was just really trying to work on my bag, and the product that was supposed to be built didn't come to fruition. It was a poorly built product, and eventually, like with most utility tokens, if the product fails to materializes or fails to gain adoption, no matter how strong the community was, during the process, they disband as soon as the utility aspect doesn't come into fruition. So the community fell apart and everyone went their own ways. So I've always got this like tendency to work for my bag. So when it came to SPX6900, I started to do YouTube videos, I started to do TikTok content.
Yeah.
And I was like, I realized that there's so much depth to this token from just being in the community and just learning from everyone else. like reading everyone's posts and watching other people, the OGs, I'll say, in the space of SPX6900, their content on SPX. And I was like, I've not seen anything like this before, the culture, the depth. And I saw one Eon, he made a comic book.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, a comic book. And then afterwards, I realized there was no book out there for SPX. And I was like, if there is anything that deserves a book, it's just token right here. And I thought, okay, I like to work my bag in a way where I can make a video, for example, and that one video can attract many people to SPX down the line. So I thought, if the book itself, if I just put in the work for this book, later down the line, even years, months later, people could still come into SPX off of this one load of effort. So me not seeing anything else like it, me not seeing any other book on the market, the depth that SPX6900 had, I thought, yes, it could be a book made for it, because articles were already being made. And also, I would say that I wanted another way to also be able to buy more SPX tokens.
Sure.
So I thought, okay, if I put value in the market, people like my book, people buy my book, I can use that to also DCA more into SPX, because I feel like I got into SPX. Okay, relatively speaking, if you're looking at it in the future, people say I was very early.
Sure.
I got in under £1, under $1.
Yep.
Yes, I was early.
Yep.
But considering when I discovered it and how much I could have purchased if I did back then, I feel like I got in late.
Right.
So I was like, I've got a lot of catching up to do in terms of accumulating SPX tokens. So anything that could help me buy more tokens would help. So all of those factors put together, I would say, led me to creating the book.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, speaking of working for your bag, I didn't really start posting on X or really start getting into that. I've never written a book or written articles or anything like that, so not to that level of effort. But I really started getting into that for other communities, posting and that sort of thing, and then I've taken it up a notch with SPX, with video content and that sort of thing. That's the thing. Like, I feel like this coin gets you to do things you wouldn't have done in the past, at least for me.
100%, yeah.
So I think that's a big. That says a lot right there, honestly.
Yeah, 100% it does, and it's just that there's so much depth to it. For example, I would look at other tokens on Murad's list, and maybe, one could say that I'm not really deeply involved within those communities to know whether there's a lot of depth in it, whereby a book could actually be written about it. But with SPX6900, there's just so much depth to it. I mean, just from being a part of the SPX community, I've learned so much myself, and I've been in crypto for a long time, and it was just like I was constantly getting enlightenment from just being part of this community. And I was like, there's so much that could be said about SPX, and I feel like I'm sure other people would write better books in the future, because even in my book, there's a lot of aspects I didn't even include that could be discussed about in more depth. I just wanted something basic, an overview, something that could benefit someone that's new to crypto or was going through the same journey that I was, whereby they only saw value in utility, to understand that, that's not just the value proposition. There is value also in tokens like SPX6900, but community. So I wanted to also help people that was that sort of had the same mindset as me through crypto. with the book.
Yeah, I think it was. I read through it and I thought it was a very good. Yeah, I think it was good for newcomers to like new people to crypto. Period. Like because you describe how you can buy it, how you can you mentioned Ledger to be able to store it in cold storage, which I thought was good. So there were like a lot of those basic tips in there, which I thought was good, and it goes through a lot of the basic kind of why you'd want to get into SPX, the community, the belief system, and all those awesome things. And yeah, I agree. I think it's great for somebody who was in your shoes, utility all the way, and don't really get into somebody coined, or I don't know if this is new, but I've been reading it recently. I think it was Crypto Cow said it. I think he I don't know if he made it up or heard it somewhere. Pure belief assets, I think, is what he was calling it the other day, which might be a better way to describe it than meme coins, because I feel like meme coins, there's just a lot of there's a lot of shit out there. A lot of bullshit.
100%, yeah.
So it is sort of, when somebody hears meme coin, this is not your typical meme coin. I mean, that is a basic category, but it's definitely bigger and much better than your basic meme coin.
100%.
Yeah, and I agree too. Like, I don't know how you can write a book about PopCat. I still own some because I bought some before. I'm a very loyal person. It's hard for me to sell if I bull posted at some point. I'm probably going to hold it because I feel like this. I'm very loyal in that way. So I still own some, but it would be really hard for me to even think about writing a book for it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I think on Murad's list, the only token, from my perspective, I don't want to offend anyone, because I do own other tokens on that list. Like, I do have some Giga.
Sure.
But the only token that I saw whereby it had enough depth and also was a learning curve for me was SPX6900, whereby I could make a book out of it. So there was a lot to talk about.
Well, I remember the first time I made a bull post about it, or no, I just said, "Yeah, I'm buying this coin. It's just funny," or whatever. I said something like that, and then I got raided so hard. I was like, "What the hell?" And Murad commented on it too, and I was like, "What the?" And it was like it was very condescending too. I was like, "Yeah, this is pretty retarded." That's what I said. And I still got, and I was like, "Okay, well, that's something." And then it just builds over time. You're not going to instantly be like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever." You're not going to start that way. It takes time.
It's a journey.
Yep. Okay. I wanted to quote your book really quick because I thought there was one thing in there that I really liked. I mean, there's a lot of things I like, but this in particular. It says, "This is more than a meme. It's a movement and revolution in disguise. And the earlier you see it, the more it means when it arrives." This was page 57. Did you, was that you, or did you get that from someone in the community? I was just kind of curious.
I would say...
Was it kind of like a culmination?
It was a culmination. It was a culmination. I will say that in fact the entire book is a culmination of the community.
Yep.
Yeah, because everything I learned about SPX6900 was from the community. It's as if I studied the community and I took what they were saying, what I was learning from them, and I formulated it into a book.
Sure.
So a lot of it was from the community. I mean, without the community, I wouldn't have ever been able to produce a book on SPX.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I read that and I was like, "That's cool." I was like, is that a quote from something? And I was like, no, I don't think it is. It's just, but it almost, whenever I was reading the book, I was like, that sounds like it because I'm so involved in it. It did, like, I just felt like I was reading, I don't know, it felt like I was reading the community or something. Because it all made sense to me.
Because a lot of, for example, I'll be consuming content
Right.
from, what was it, Ghost of Tan's Chow.
Oh yeah. Tens, yeah.
And I listen to like how in depth people can go with SPX, and then a light bulb will go into my head. Oh, let me add that aspect into the book. Let me add that aspect into the book. Just from listening to other people's content, ideas would come into what to discuss within the book.
Right.
So a lot of it was extrapolated from what I've learned from the community. When I was making the book, to be honest.
No, yeah, it sounds awesome. It definitely, for somebody who's in it, they'll be able to relate a lot with the book, and it's kind of cool. It's like a summary of a lot of things, but I think it's really good for new people. Like, it's a good intro, so you're not just like, what the heck is this? You know?
Yeah, I mean, the way I saw it, I was saying to myself, when I was starting out on SPX, I mean, instead of someone telling me about it through the spiritual aspect, and it's like a community of anti-atheists and God-loving people, so that's why it's going to do well in the market. I wish maybe someone presented me with a book like this,
right?
To help me. So I try to think of it from a new person's perspective. What sort of information would benefit them about SPX, to give them a good understanding, a good overview. Obviously, I encourage them to also join the movement by participating in the community.
Yes.
And that's where their own self-conviction is going to arise from. But yeah, it's just a book to get people through the door, basically.
Yeah, I thought that was good too. I forgot to mention that. You kind of have like a call in there for people to get involved, and that's a lot of the value you get as well. It's like I was trying to just find a way to describe it. It's like an infinite canvas almost, where you can just create things, and I don't know how to put it, but there's always things you can talk about within it, and if you're somebody who wants to make content, you don't really know how you want it. I was thinking about this too. Somebody who wants to make content but can't like break through it all, because it's really hard to get followers and stuff from trying to create something by yourself. If you start doing this, you're instantly going to get like 1,000 people following you over time, and so it's that right there is a selling point too. Just getting into it and getting involved, you will get popularity, and it's a way to get, you know what I mean? It's a, I don't know how to put it, but you know what I mean? It's something that it's like a marketing thing. It helps a lot.
Of course, yeah, it does.
Yeah, so that in itself is good, especially if you're looking for something to help you break through a little bit. So do you have, I had one question. Did you have any plans to make an audio version of the book?
No, I don't know who would narrate it.
Yeah, I wonder with AI if it would be easy now. I wonder.
Oh, that's an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an idea. Doing it. Yeah. I haven't really thought about it, but
probably too early to think about it. But if we really take off and everything, and this becomes like the first book of SPX, which it definitely is. That is the first book of SPX, and we all think it will continue to blow up, and I believe that. So I imagine this. I was thinking about it. This book should end up selling a lot. I think so. And maybe an audio version at some point would make sense.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all. Yeah.
Do you see yourself writing any more books, or do you think this will probably be it?
I mean, I think better books for SPX would come out probably as we grow more in depth, as the community evolves, if people want to do more like study cases as to how the SPX evolution occurred and the in-depth nature of all that. But I think for myself, I don't have any plans to write anything else. I mean, yes, there's things in the book that I didn't include that can be included, but I don't think a new book has to come out just to add extra stuff, like talking about, for example, I don't think I spoke about much of the SPX6900 tenets, for example. Or I didn't really mention the Cognisphere and stuff like that. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I was to keep some. I thought, let me just keep some stuff available for people that get into SPX to discover on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to discuss. So I thought, let me just keep it stupid simple for newcomers. Don't overwhelm them with any of the spiritual side of it, the Cognisphere. I don't think I spoke about eons much either in the book. No, but so I thought, if people, I just wanted to basically present something rational, something that I felt like I needed, because I'm a very sort of rational sort of investor. I can be, for example, very opinionated and assertive with my opinion, but if someone comes and they present a stronger rational argument, I have no problem dropping what I believe for the stronger rational argument. So I just wanted to present a rational reason to invest in SPX6900, the same that I felt like Murad's presentation did for me. It was like a rational reason as to why I should consider meme tokens.
Right.
So I wanted to present that sort of in my book, a rational reason why people should look into SPX6900, what is its value proposition, and join the movement to sort of, and be a part of the community to sort of learn more. But I don't think I would write another book, no.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, you've written a book that's incredible. I was just curious if you thought you might, but and I like how you've been giving some out too. I think that's cool, and I've seen it posted so much. You're like people reading it and posting pictures of it. I think that's really cool. I'm glad people are embracing it already. Because I know you put a lot of work into it. So
I was actually, I mean, to be honest, I was actually scared after making the book, because I was like, okay, you know how some communities are when you launch a product and then you put a price to it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you should have free labor. Why are you not giving it out for free? So I was like, I don't know how the community would receive the book. What would the reception be like once I launched the book? So I wanted to, in the beginning, I was really trying to think of ideas as to how I could actually give back to the community. I was like, okay, let me try to find a way where people that buy the book, I would buy SPX900 SPX with any of the profit that I make from the book, and I'll distribute it to them. And I was trying to push that out there on X, and no one was interested.
Well, I think I remember seeing it, and I was thinking, you made the book, you know? I think it's really just from a perspective like, why would we don't deserve it, you know? You deserve it. You made it.
So no one seemed to be taking me up on the offer, and I felt like, okay, I'm pushing too much for this. So then another Eon advised me, like, I think you should just keep the SPX.
I agree.
It's not. Yeah, it's like you're maybe attracting the wrong crowd. It's better you have...
Right. I could see like just some like scumbag who's like, I'm into SPX. Yeah, give me half the... like who isn't really into it at all. Yeah, I was afraid somebody was gonna take advantage because
So I was like, okay then, fine, and I'll keep the SPX6900, which was easier for me because I didn't have to worry about constantly having to deal with people's addresses, paying them out. So I was like, okay, fine, that's much easier for me. So I thought, okay, you know what? Another way I'll give back is just give out free copies. That's what I'll do every month or so. Just give out a free copy to someone, whether they have the book or not. They can just hand it on to someone else. Just keep passing it on, pass it forward, because ideally, whatever I make from SPX, whatever I make from the book sales is going to be insignificant to what I'm trying to make from SPX itself.
Right.
Yeah. So I want the book to be given out there. I want people to join SPX, see the value in SPX, join our culture. The token appreciates in value, and that's really where my money is at, really, in the investment taking off. The book itself, any sales that I make from it, I'm just going to use it as well to buy more SPX.
Right.
That's what I'm doing, DCAing into SPX.
Which
is another way that,
that helps the community too, So
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm buying SPX, and I've got a long-term vision of SPX.
Right.
And in the beginning, when I was first buying SPX, I just bought it. But like I said, it takes a few months for the penny to click, and then you realize, yes, SPX6900 isn't like every other meme token. SPX6900 isn't like any other crypto. The community is actually unique. The culture is actually unique. And you begin to start believing that, what if one day we actually do potentially flip the stock market? Yes, it's a long-term vision, but what if one day it happens? I mean, it's a multi-cycle narrative. If the culture just keeps getting bigger and bigger, who's to say it can't happen? Or one day we at least reach $1 trillion in market cap.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
And people say it's crazy. I mean, Michael Saylor from Bitcoin, everybody knows him. His prediction in 2045, it's like 20 years from now, is that Bitcoin will at least hit $10 million. If Bitcoin hits $10 million a coin, that is 210, over $200 trillion market cap. So if that happens, anything can happen. I mean, so that's kind of the way I look at it. Like, if Bitcoin's at 200 trillion, what's to say SPX is not at 50 trillion? I mean, that can happen.
Exactly. And then you look at tokens like Doge and SHIB, like Doge reaching like 100 billion market cap, and you're like, come on, SPX6900 is sort of in the bag, like 100 billion. Like, come on, this is not even. We're thinking way bigger than that. It's as if when I buy SPX6900, I'm buying it with the mindset that it's 100 billion is going to be reached, like guaranteed.
I mean, I feel very, very confident. Nothing is 100% guaranteed in my rational head, but I do feel very confident.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. But it's it definitely. I think it was Murad said,
conviction is high. Is high. I'll say that.
Yeah, very high confidence level. Murad said, I think it attracts good people for the most part, and he says if you're in a coin with a bunch of shitheads, they're going to dump on you instantly, and it's never going to go anywhere. So, and I think that's one of the hodling culture and the DCA culture and all that stuff. That's obviously good for price, and so that's and our humongous price target will always get people interested. And I think it's for sure going to be a multi-cycle coin. If it's a multi-cycle coin, considering there's not what's the inflation, there's no supply inflation. The supply's already out there.
Exactly.
All it takes is more demand. It's just a demand question.
100%. What would you say is, in your opinion, the point of failure for SPX6900? And I'm not talking about like a black swan event, like blockchains and the internet going down.
Yeah, there's that.
yeah, that's a potential failure for literally everything.
Yep, we're all screwed then. So
yeah, we're all kind of exactly. But just for in terms of, for example, I would say like the point of failure with most utility tokens is the utility itself. That is the point of failure.
Yep.
So SPX6900, one of the great things about it, in my opinion, is that it doesn't have utility as a point of failure. So I've thought of something that could potentially be a point of failure, but I was wondering, like, what would you say the point of failure would be for SPX6900?
Well, and it depends on how you classify failure. Failure is we kind of dwindle into, to me, failure would just be dwindling into obscurity. If it doesn't grow anymore and it's just people just kind of, it stagnates and it just kind of slowly, people kind of fall away and it just slowly dies back to where it's just hardcore people who've always been in it and it doesn't really grow. That would be, so to me it would just be people don't take to it, and we're just wrong about that. Like, people don't find it appealing at all. That to me is the point. That's really the only point of failure that I could think of, is it just doesn't catch on, which was true with Bitcoin. That's true with any coin. So
I agree with you. I agree. And I would say, to add to that as well, I would say if the community, for example, doesn't maintain the culture of SPX700, then I think that would be a major point of failure for the token, because I think the culture of SPX6900 is sorts of what safeguards it. It protects it. So it's the culture as well that it's something that I've not seen with other crypto tokens. For example, other crypto tokens would have a culture of, for example, high conviction, don't trade, but there's more to SPX100 than just those two elements of having high conviction and not trading. Even simple things like persisting forever, like basically outlasting everything, that sort of endurance, resistance mindset, that's a powerful part of our culture. I would say stuff like there is no chart. Like the price is binary. There's like no one really talks about price discussions. It's like, have we flipped the stock market or not? The anti-establishment, anti-tradfi sentiment, the no lewd posting, and something else I'll say that's very unique that I have not experienced in any other communities, and I've been in like many different crypto communities. I would say the positivity aspect and the discouragement of like toxic behavior that the SPX6900 community possesses. So like they'll wish others success. They will say like, tell the fact where people say to you, I love you, or telling others you love them, or kill them with love. I have not experienced that in any other community. I mean, I've been a part of communities and they're so toxic. I mean, even the Bitcoin maximalism is a very toxic community. It can be. The XRP community, which I still hold some XRP, but
sure,
I don't really believe in it like that anymore. But it's a very toxic community.
Really, so, I've never been a part of it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it can be a very toxic community. So when I came into SPX6900, it's like as if I, as an individual, had to change my ways from being a part of a toxic community where I'm constantly arguing with people, debating, PvPing, and that even the no PvP behavior in SPX6900 is just like, we are not against each other, it's just a system. All of this stuff, it's like, okay, I'm like, this the culture of SPX6900, like so long as we are able to, as a community, maintain it, keep it intact, it would attract other people into the fold, in my opinion, as a multi-cycle narrative. And I think if we lose that culture, then that could be the biggest point of failure for SPX6900.
Yeah, I agree. It really is. It is that simple. As long as we persist forever, which is that kind of moniker, which is really true. As long as that happens, even if let's say nobody else joins, literally nobody else, we're all DCAing.
Exactly.
That's still going to make the price go up. Maybe it doesn't go up as much as we hope, but it'll still go up. So
exactly.
But there's going to be more people joining because people are going to get attracted to it. I don't see how it doesn't do well. I mean,
the same way you joined and I joined, other people would join.
Right. Yeah. And we're putting the message. I mean, I think some people get impatient, like their time horizon's a week, and it's not going to work out for you. This is not the community for you if you're only going to last a week. You got to be willing to, at the very least, even if you just want to be a passive investor, which I get that some people don't want to be involved. There's still this narrative and the community, and once you understand that, it's still a great passive investment. So you don't have to be actively bull posting it if you don't want to. I would encourage you because I think it helps. It helps, but also I enjoy doing it. I mean, I really do enjoy it. And I enjoy reading about it, but if you're not really into that, it's still just a good investment because of what we're talking about here. So I can 100%. Understand. I can understand. That's what I was thinking about with like the TikTok move and the just trying to branch out beyond crypto X, and you get people who may not necessarily have been into crypto. Some of them may not really want to get into it that much, and even if you attract people like that, that's still good. But ideally, you get someone who really embraces it, because then that can help get more people into it. You know what I mean? So,
100%.
Yeah. Ideally, it's somebody who really wants to be active. But anybody who wants to get in and whatever your goals are, that's very welcome as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I have just one or two more things. Any last thoughts you'd like to leave?
Any last thoughts? Okay. I would say one of my last thoughts is that the biggest crypto lesson that I've learned so far, and this is someone that has been a part of multiple different communities, different utility narratives, is that the real value all along is in the people, the community, not the utility narratives. So if you are a utility maxi, see the utility narratives as a potential point of failure for your community, because if as a community you're all just holding hands together waiting on a utility narrative and that doesn't happen, then the moment that doesn't happen, you would all disperse, and the price, and I've seen it before, tokens that I've had, they just capitulated the moment that utility was not coming into fruition or was not gaining market adoption. The charts are destroyed because there's no loyalty, there's no trust. You're all just holding hands together because of a utility narrative. So that's so when a token has no utility narrative, but it has a strong community, that community has a strong philosophy, that community has a strong culture, that community is growing, that community is thriving, that community is positive, then understand that the real value is in the people, the community, and don't fade it. Invest in that, the community, invest in those sort of people. And it's a bit like the saying that I think I've heard this from Murad: the best product doesn't need a token, and the best token doesn't need a product.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good way to end it for sure. Well, thanks, Audacious, for joining, and this is my first interview, so I appreciate it, and I'm glad I got to promote your book SPX6900 Stop Trading and Start Believing. It's on Amazon. People should go buy it and buy it for a friend or buy it for themselves or whatever. It's a great book, and yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you wanting to even interview me. I mean, I've never been interviewed before, so this is something new to me as well. Okay. And also, I appreciate all the support that I've received so far for my book. It was bigger than I expected, to be honest. I mean, I was kind of nervous as to whether people would actually like the book or whether I'll get backlash for putting the book on Amazon. But yeah, I mean, the support has been much bigger than I expected. And it's just my contribution to the
cognosphere.
To the cognosphere, yeah. Basically. Exactly that. My contribution to the cognosphere. Just doing my small part,
yeah.
You know, trying to help this movement be successful, man.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining. If anybody watched to the end, I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.